Hi, you're on to People's Canadian Journey. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time, please don't forget to subscribe. It's very easy to do. Just hit the subscribe button and don't forget to press the bell icon. Today I'm going to be talking and sharing with you about how to understand the skilled worker stream or the express entry stream when we're talking about coming to Canada. So this is kind of a how-to guide, a step-by-step guide, an ABC to understanding everything immigrating to Canada. Okay, we're starting from the beginning today. Let's get started. One of the reasons I'm doing this is because I just realized that a lot of people are actually just starting their Canadian immigration journey, or even people that are in the process do not understand. Okay, so they should have had more understanding in the beginning. They should have had more information. People contact me and say, "Oh, Habiba, I've started, but I'm stuck." Okay, and I find that it's because they really didn't understand the nitty-gritty from the very beginning. Okay, and then to everybody, if this is your first time of subscribing or you're just starting, then this is a good place to start. Okay, so the skilled worker stream. So when you hear FSW, skilled worker stream, express entry, PR, this is what people are talking about. Okay, there are several ways you can come to Canada, and one of them is via the skilled worker stream. A lot of us came via this stream. You don't need a job for this stream. If you have a job, that's good, but you don't necessarily need a job for this stream. And if you're successful in this stream, you get your PR. So you come to Canada as a permanent resident. Okay, and the advantages are numerous. So while in Canada, you can, you live and work here, access health care. The only thing you cannot do as a PR is you cannot vote and you cannot take up political appointments. Okay, if you're successful as a PR, you're given a 5-year PR card. And if you meet some criteria in 3 years or more, you can get your Canadian citizenship. So how do you even start that? So you wake up, you're in your home country, you wake up and you say you want to come to Canada via the skilled worker stream. So 3 things. There are 3 minimum requirements that you have to meet before we can even get started, before you can even say you want to come to Canada via the skilled worker stream. Number 1 is work experience. You should have some form of paid work experience, minimum of 12 months, 1 year. Okay, so if you have some paid skilled work experience, you've met one requirement. The second requirement is an education requirement. You should have a minimum of your high school certificate, your school leaving certificate. So you should have finished grade 12, or what in Nigeria we call SS3, and you should have that certificate. Okay, if you have a bachelor's or an HND, the better, but you should have a minimum of that. And number 3 is your language ability. You should be able to converse. You should have a language ability in French or English. So those are the 2 languages spoken in Canada. So these are the 3 minimum requirements. If you have this, you can answer honestly and say, yes, I have this. So that's phase 1, step 1, meeting the minimum requirements. Once you've met these requirements and you're like, yes, you can beat your chest, then we go to phase 2 or stage 2. Now the second stage, okay, it's the selection factor stage, or the selection criteria stage. Now this stage, you're not the one that determines it. Okay, this stage is determined by Immigration Canada, and I'm going to put the link in the description of this video for this stage. Now this stage, you click on the link and you answer some questions. You have to answer honestly. The questions you're going to answer are point-based. The maximum points you can get is 100 points. The minimum points you need for this stage is 67. Okay, now for this stage, you have to be really honest with yourself, because here IRCC is not asking for any documentation or proof, but to move to the next stage, you need to pass here. You need to get a minimum of 67 points. So the selection factors are your age. The minimum age requirement is 18, maximum age 55. your educational qualifications, you're going to be asked about that. Again, depending on your level of education, you'll be given some points. Be honest here. 3, your work experience. You're going to be asked your work experience, how many years you have. Again, be honest. Okay, number 4 is your language ability. Now I'm going to talk about this a bit. Okay, now when Canada says language ability, it's not just as easy as saying, oh, I speak English, I can converse in English, we speak English or French in my home country. No, for the language ability and for a lot of the processes here in Canada that have to do with immigration, you have to show documentation, you have to show proof. So for the language ability, they're going to be asked, so for instance, if you're coming from an English-speaking country, you're going to be asked your IELTS language level. But here, you have not taken the test yet. So what I usually tell people to put in here is put in the minimum score required for the language ability. And I'm going to put, again, the link in the description of the video. Now, the idea and the hope is that you get more points in the exams, but put in the minimum so that they'll be able to calculate your score. You're not the one that's going to calculate it. It's all computed and the scores will be calculated for this selection factor for stage 2, and you'll be giving your score immediately once you're done. Okay, so that's also important. If you have a job offer when you're coming to Canada, that helps. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. A lot of us came here, we didn't have job offers from our home country, but that's another question you'll be asked. Okay, you're going to see the selection factors on the screen. Answer honestly, and then you'll be given points. You'll be awarded your points. If you get a minimum of 67 points, then and only then can you move to the next stage. If you do not get that 67 points minimum, this means you're not going to be eligible to come to Canada as a skilled worker. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, and it's after you've gotten the score from here that you can now create what we call the express entry profile. So that's stage 2. So stage 3 is what I call the getting your documentation stage. Okay, this is where you get all your documents to actually submit to Immigration Canada. So, you know, the 67 points you got, this is where you are going to show evidence. This is where you're going to show proof that yes, you're 35 years old, because you're going to have to send in your birth certificate or your passport. This is where you're going to send in your language exams, because at this point you should have written your language exams. Okay, so stage 3 is the big stage, getting your documents, but you cannot get to stage 3. You cannot skip stage 1 and stage 2 and get to stage 3. Okay, so extremely important. Now for stage 3, I usually tell people give yourself a minimum of 6 months to gather your documents. Don't rush. It's better to get all the documents in, properly. So this is the big stage. Okay, very, very important. So you've gathered your documents, you have everything. Okay, now you create your express entry profile. Now the express entry profile is also point-based. And the way it works is that the people that are successful at the express entry level are the people that get the most points. So the most points you have, the better. Now I'm going to share with you, very important, how to get the most points at the express entry level. Okay, now you get points for your age. You cannot do anything about your age. Okay, don't even bother falsifying or saying, trying to reduce your... Okay, now your educational qualifications, you can try, and let's say you have a bachelor's or you just have a high school certificate, you can go back to school for a year or two to try and get, another certificate or another degree. That it's also good. But one of the fastest ways to get good points, okay, is with the language exams. Now, you need one language exam. So you need to either take the French or English. But if you take 2, if you have the both of them, you'll be extremely successful. You have provinces looking for you. Last month, Immigration Canada surprised everybody. They had 3 invitations to apply for people who had French. So either French was your main language or you had English and French on your profile. So French, having the French language exam has become extremely important. And I talk about this all the time, but for me it's the fastest way, because if you want to go back for another degree, you're talking a minimum of 1 or 2 years. But with the French, if you go back to learn French, and then take the exam, you can do it in 3 to 6 months or even less, depending on the amount of time you give it. So you're thinking about coming to Canada as a skilled worker. You want to increase your points. You want to look good in the express entry profile, because right now the competition is really, really tough. Learn French. Okay, and one of the ways you can do it is, self-learning on a platform that I love to share with my subscribers called Skillshare. The reason I still talk about Skillshare often is because a lot of my subscribers actually come back and say, Biba, thank you. The courses and the classes on Skillshare have helped them. Recently, I got a message from this family in Nigeria. They're coming to Canada. Okay, they both, husband and wife in their 40s, and their scores were not too good in the express entry profile. And I encouraged them to go on Skillshare, start taking the French classes, the French courses. And they started doing that. And, she just, in fact, in her email, the lady says, Johan Kusot, his classes are excellent. His classes are amazing. And I'm like, okay, that's good. And she said she's not just learning the French. They didn't just learn the French to pass the exam. They're going to a French-speaking province. They're going to New Brunswick, which is bilingual. And she says, when they get there, they're actually going to be conversing, because he has helped, the course by Johan Kusot on Skillshare really helped them. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and members, okay? And they have tons and tons of classes for you to learn French on. It's a great place to get inspired and to learn French, okay? Some of the French classes I would recommend are ones by Kieran Ball, where she talks about learning a language in 3 minutes. She has tons of followers, thousands of followers, and in her learning a language in 3 minutes, she takes you on the basics on how to connect the dots when it comes to learning French. I would strongly recommend that. She calls it the 3-minute language series. Johan Kusot is also another excellent guy. Chrissy Tanay, French language course for beginners, has the 20 days challenge. And right now, the first 1,000 people to use the link will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. You have nothing to lose, 1 month free trial. So start it now, learn French, increase your scores at the skilled worker stream, and I look forward to hearing from you when you are on your way to Canada. Until next time, keep watching Biba's Canadian Journey. Thank you. Hi, my name is Habiba, and